make him an offer he can't refuse.
So, Samurai's Promise was yet another patron request from my good friend, the Nerdy Ronin. And this film was definitely a very pleasant surprise. In short, I liked it a lot. And before I get into it, I just want to say that this film was also given to me by SamuraiDVD.com for purpose of review. This is the best website to buy samurai movies. I often get a lot of comments asking where we can watch some of these films, and there's honestly not too many places unless you want to get ripped off on eBay. So if you want to see any of these films that I talk about, please check out SamuraiDVD.com. They're pretty much all on this website. It's basically your one-stop shopping for just these kinds of films. And don't forget to use the discount code Bushido Blues at checkout. Samurai's Promise is also known by the name Falling Camellia. It was released in 2018. As far as Jidaigeki, Japanese period drama goes, Samurai's Promise feels like it was written by Shuhei Fujisawa. And for anyone that watches my videos, you know that Fujisawa adaptations are basically the modern day Kurosawa films. And all these adaptations are just excellently written. So if you see Shuhei Fujisawa in the title, just get it, because you know it's going to be good. But actually, Samurai's Promise was not written by Shuhei Fujisawa. But it basically has all the great things that you would see in his adaptations. I was actually surprised that it wasn't one of his. It's a slow burn samurai film with beautiful scenery and a shocking, satisfying ending. Those are all the great traits of a Fujisawa film. And movies like this really just prove how effective endings can be. Sometimes if the movie's shitty and you just get a really great ending, that could just make the movie so much better, because that's what you're left remembering. In this film, there's not too much action, but the few fights that it does have are very memorable, and they're just very well done. This film focuses more on human relationships, feelings, and settings rather than action sequences. The original title for the film, Chiri Tsubaki, refers to the falling blossoms of the Japanese camellia flower. And you'll see these all throughout the film. All of the swordplay and swordsmanship in the film is depicted realistically, and I found it very impressive. But that's not really a big part of this film. What I found very interesting is that the director of this film had worked with Kurosawa multiple times as a cinematographer, and you could definitely see the similarities. There's that same kind of holding shots on just beautiful nature scenery. And the way Kurosawa films action scenes are very similar in this. And especially how they're centered and just the background. It looks great. It really is just a beautiful film. I could just keep this on and just admire the visuals like a painting. The story is also quite interesting, and it plays a bit like a mystery that unfolds at the very end. It's about a samurai who gets exiled for having a sense of justice and unwanted meddling. He and his wife become outcasts, but his wife falls ill and eventually she dies, and he proceeds to fulfill her final promise. That's why it's called Samurai's Promise. And this promise is to protect a friend who he suspected that his wife was in love with, and also to return to his old clan that they were both exiled from. His return is unwelcomed by both the seat of power and formal friends that he had, and they see him basically as a traitor. Also, they see him as a murderer and potentially both. I mean, it's like, make up your mind, pick one or the other. And it is only his sense of justice and faithfulness to his wife and a promise he made to her that keeps him calm and resolved to remain and do the right thing. Also, there's a bit of a strange subplot involving his sister-in-law believing that she's possessed by the spirit of her dead sister, his dead wife. It's definitely weird, but it also makes the story a bit more intriguing, and I always appreciate some weird things thrown into films. Maybe it's just me. And you do find out more about the storyline. It's more involved than it sounds, and it's definitely deeper than you would think. I really loved the complexity of this film. I had to watch it twice, and I definitely discovered more the second time I watched it. And what's interesting is the promise is not what he thinks it is. He pretty much thought all this time that his wife had settled for someone else, and that she loved his friends more than she loved him. But once he finds out a bit more, it's actually quite the opposite. With incredible cinematography, beautiful scenery, filming settings that highlight the four seasons of the Japanese countryside. There's also a very well-fitting, smooth, and kind of melancholic tone to the film. It's beautifully choreographed, there's powerful action sequences when it does have one, and it's really just a solid, well-written story depicted by a very skillful cast. Lots of great actors in this. This is a tribute to the jidaigeki genre, and it depicts samurai's dignity and the way of living, and a painful but beautiful story of love. It's also the closest thing we've gotten in the past decade to a Kurosawa film. Just the way it's filmed with nature and how nature is used to set the mood and tell a story visually. That's very Kurosawa-esque. And as for the flaws, which every film has, I will say that the choice of music sounds a bit off at times. Like, I swear at times I was listening to the Godfather soundtrack. It's very similar to the Godfather theme song, and it's kind of weird that it's in this. Come on, tell me this isn't the Godfather theme song.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. You spend time with your family? Because a man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man. You don't even think to call me Godfather. Instead, you come into my house on the day my daughter's to be married and you ask me to do murder.
For the non-Japanese viewers, it's often difficult, especially at the beginning, to figure out who's who and just follow all the plot lines and politics and details. It's also definitely on the slower pace side, and if it just had a little bit more action, it definitely would have made my top 10. But it was the next choice. Anyway, if you like Kurosawa or Shuhei Fujisawa adaptations, beautiful nature settings, which everyone should, those are all great things, then you'll probably enjoy this. If you're gonna watch it though, just make sure you watch it to the end, because it really is the best part. You don't want to miss it. If you want to watch it, you can get it on SamuraiDVD.com. Use the discount code Bushido Blues. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe. You could also join my Patreon. And like always, thanks for watching.